It's extremely difficult to separate in my head the simple fact of my dogs not being here with the overwhelming anxiety of them not being at all. I took a short trip to my hometown for a couple of days, and I chose to leave them behind because I have a million chores here and I figured it would be better. I don't know. Their empty beds are here in their spots, and the longer they remain empty, the more I'm consumed by their absence, to the point where I avoid spending time in this entire room. When dogs are gone, it's like the most gone there is. I feel like I've lost the foundation of my being, and I'm just floating in the air among a million thoughts with nothing to keep me on the ground anymore. I have no one to stare at me while I'm doing extremely important things like nothing. I have to remember to lock the doors. I look at the road and I have absolutely no interest in walking it alone. I eavesdrop conversations from the house next door. They are the most uninteresting conversations I've ever heard. I go from room to room without anyone caring where I'm really at, without anyone coming to look for me. There's a certain type of loneliness in me that only dogs can keep under control. Even when I sink into it, it can only be until their next walk. So I surface again, and then if I sink back, it's like starting from the beginning. This way I can never sink in too deep. The evenings are worse here. As it gets dark, the absence, any absence, becomes alive. At nights, the only things that seem to matter are the things that aren't. The ones who aren't. The ones who aren't here, or the ones who aren't at all. You know, it's hard for any person to sit there unstimulated for long periods of time. We need sensory input of any form, and the sensory input that stimulates me most is the sound of my dog's nails hitting the floor as they walk through the room. The sound of their heavy breaths as they sleep, and the visual awareness of physically seeing them in the room from the corner of my eye. I miss them. Aside from the nostalgia in its purely physical form, I miss them in a way that I cannot put into words. What they do for me without realizing it, simply by being around me, is more mental than I had ever imagined, and more necessary for my mental health than I had realized.
Hello, I am Valia. If you like the videos, please subscribe, and if you can, join me on Patreon and help create more compassionate people. Para la versión del canal en castellano, busquen el enlace abajo.